Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Briar Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people over at Briar Greaves Insurance. For more information about them, visit their website at briargreavesinsurance.com or give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It's a Monday edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Unfortunately, not a Victory Monday, our first non-Victory Monday episode of this season, as the Bucs fell 31-25 to the Eagles yesterday, but they still got the whole season in front of them. We're going to talk a little bit more about that game, recap some injury stuff, and take a little look ahead to the Bucs' next matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, which is out on the West Coast. And we'll have roll call at 4:20. Don't you worry, Bucs fans. We got that coming up too. So I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is Scott Reynolds, SR, the face that runs the place, pewterreport.com. Scott, any difference in the change of feelings or anything like that about the Bucs following yesterday's game?
No, I don't think so. And when you listen to what Baker Mayfield had to say, actually, he was kind of quoting Levante David. The Bucs need to get up to faster starts, right? It was fun while it lasted, the whole furious fourth quarter finish, It made for some good, entertaining football. But that's not a strategy. That's not what Todd Bowles and Josh Grizzard, when they're putting these game plans together, they're not saying, all right, so listen, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to trail in the game in the fourth quarter. We're going to come back and win it. That's what we're going to do, right? That's not it. This team wants to come out and play better football to start the game. They've not been able to do that on both sides of the ball. We've not seen the Buccaneers win the first quarter. Matter of fact, it is the worst quarter for the Buccaneers in terms of scoring, a 34-13 differential. So from the first, 15 minutes on, the Buccaneers are trailing typically this year. They've only had, I think, one quarter where they weren't trailing, and that was a 3-3 tie with the Jets. They have played better as the game has gone on, but even when they've had their largest halftime lead, the 20-6 lead at in week 3 against the Jets at halftime, wasn't enough, right? The Jets came back in that game. So the Bucs have to put 4 quarters together. That was a masterful half in the second half. I went back and watched some of those plays today. The Buccaneers just dominated the second half of that game on both sides of the ball. If not for those takeaways by the Eagles, or giveaways, whatever you want to call them, by the Bucs offense, they probably win this game too, and they're 4-0. But that wasn't the case, and they lost as a result of those 2 turnovers, and of course the blocked punt. They were chasing those points, Matt, the entire game, it seems.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like any of the Bucs players were surprised with the final results of the game. It's not like anyone, or Baker, as you mentioned, or anyone in the locker room was like, I just don't know how this happened.
Yeah.
How is it possible? Like, yeah, you know what happened. You
Right.
had a sluggish start on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Why you had to punt it early. The punting was terrible, of course, and you had a blocked punt go for a touchdown, and then you had to play catch up the rest of the way. We talked about it yesterday, but it's important to reignite today. The Bucs need to control their own tempo. They haven't really been able to do that, except for that game against the New York Jets, and it's just tough when you're playing from behind the 8 ball the entire time. And you got to give credit to the Bucs that they didn't just, wilt over and die after going down by so much. I mean, this could have been a blowout, and I think that's, kind of a spark that they need to understand that they can still hang tough with some of the best teams. Because if the Bucs got blown out in this game, I think the conversation is very different today. Where we're going, are the Bucs still a contender? And sure, we could point to, hey, no Mike Evans and certain other injuries and stuff like that. But that's not the narrative today. It's a lot of Bucs beating the Bucs, close but no cigar, a couple of plays away. And I think, if these teams were to face off in the postseason, it'll be a very different narrative and storyline. So I think those are some positives you can point to, but there's certainly a lot of things to clean up as well.
Starting with special teams. That's Todd Bowles. That's the principal look right there, or the vice principal, I guess. Really, vice principals. They're the ones that do the, you know, the punishment, right? When you get suspended from school and all that type of stuff. That's Thomas McGahee getting called into the vice principal's office right there. Todd Bowles, didn't really defend T-Mac today.
No.
When he was asked, is this coaching? Is it a scheme thing? Is it a blocking thing? Is it Riley Dixon needing to get the punts off faster? He said it was all the above, and I was glad to hear that.
Yeah, he said his exact words were, "It's something different, but it's all bad. We've got to correct that." When asked about Riley Dixon needing to punt faster, he said he can speed it up too. Then he also said, "Right now, we're looking at all avenues to improve our special teams, all inclusive. It's coaching, it's personnel, it's all inclusive. It's never just one."
That's right.
And, there's been some great video out on social media as well, showing how all you needed to do was watch the tape of how the Bucs went about blocking when they had to punt the football over the first 3 weeks. And the Eagles ran that to a T of just running, not exactly a stunt, but faking like they're going to do a stunt, which kind of brought in Ryan Miller a little bit more. And that gave a direct line to get right through the snapper and block the punt on Riley Dixon. So bottom line is that it's atrocious. We're talking about 3 or 4 games where there's been a block of some sorts, 2 blocked punts. The blocked field goal was more of a freakish thing. I don't know how often that's necessarily going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, we are in a position right now, at least this is how I felt on the Pewter Game Day show after the initial block. Every time the Bucs go to punt, I'm thinking, okay, this might be it. This might be it again. And that's just a terrible feeling to have.
It is. And if you're feeling that, and I'm feeling that, I'm sure Bucs fans, you're out there feeling that too. Here we go again, right? What's going through the minds of Riley Dixon?
Right.
And of Evan Decker as the long snapper, and Ryan Miller and Payne Durham and Marquise Watts and Sean Tucker, the guys that are up there up front that are supposed to be blocking. I mean, it's probably going through their minds too. And football is a physical game. It's also a mental game too. And it is a roller coaster every time that I see a field goal or a punt now in Tampa out there. I thought for sure the 65-yard field goal was going to be blocked. I just did. I think I even tweeted that out. Just because it's like, for a 65-yard field goal, you really can't get a lot of hang time. That's almost like a straight shot, right? And you got Jordan Davis, who's blocked a couple, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I could just see this field goal getting blocked and returned for a touchdown. Then the Eagles have 2 scores on special teams. I mean, you allow those nightmare scenarios to creep in your head when they happen in 3 consecutive weeks. But I don't. Here's what I don't understand. I don't understand how, because this is a distance thing. If you have a punter that lines up, and has a slow wind up, right, with his kicks, and he does. He's got 9 punt blocks in his career now. 9 kicks that have been blocked in his 10 years, including 2 this year. I don't understand why you can't line up half a yard or a yard back further if it's truly a distance thing, right? And not just say, hey, if we're going to snap it to you a little bit further. We're going to practice that. It's not ideal. It's not the norm. Just like, when you have a field goal kicker, he usually lines up 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, right? Maybe make it an extra yard here. Do something to help this thing out. Because I'm telling you right now, if the long snapper doesn't change, if the punter doesn't change, there's going to be another block punt this year. There's been close calls in every game dating back to the Falcons game where there wasn't even a block, and even the Jets game last week. We saw 1 or 2 that were pretty close as well. So this is going to happen again. And, I'm going to hate to say I told you so, Buccaneers, but, I've probed some of my sources. Are you going to make a change? No, we're not making any changes. We're just going to fix it. Okay. Good luck with that. Mark it down, September 29th, right here on the Pewter Report podcast at 4:12. You want to co-sign in this, Matt? You want to say there's going to be another punt blocked at some point this season?
You just gave 2 thumbs up, but I think it's more of 2 fingers crossed to hope that you get the punt off.
I hope I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I just don't see them fixing this because this is not a one-off thing. This is now 2 blocks, and there's been a couple of almost blocks that we've
Yeah.
seen in every game so far. So I just don't have. Let's do something radical, like, hey, we're just going to have you punt it from like a yard deeper,
Right.
right? And
And I don't
we're going to make the guys rush a yard further to try to block it. I mean, I just don't understand what the problem with that is.
and I don't think it's some of this certainly is to blame on Riley Dixon, but I don't think it's all on Riley Dixon. Like the protection hasn't been that good either. So I do think it is kind of a little bit of everyone, like Todd Bowles was talking about.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm all for, I mean, forget 1 yard back. What about 2 or 3 yards back? And I get it. Like that's further that the ball has to go, but I still think you can snap it quicker than they can run it there. Like we could still throw a football faster than Tyreek Hill running 40 yards, as fast as Tyreek Hill is. Like
that's true.
So you still have that advantage of the velocity of snapping it back. So at this point, I mean, we're only 4 weeks in, but we are in a situation where the Bucs have to explore every single option or avenue, as Todd Bowles was talking about today, because this is not something that can linger for the entirety of the season. It already hurt the Bucs and pretty much cost them a game. I know there's other mistakes in the Bucky fumble and the Baker interception. But this could come up next week against Seattle. A loud crowd. Maybe you're in the back of your end zone or something like that. This doesn't feel like it's going away anytime soon unless and maybe there's some adjustments that we won't even see. Maybe we see a little bit of a different personnel back there, or whatever the case may be. But I don't know how you could trot out the same group and have Riley Dixon kick from the same distance and just be like, yeah, this is the week we're going to fix it. And I know Todd Bowles was doing coach speak with we got plans, we've got solutions.
Yeah.
I know he's not going to sit there. I know he's not going to stand there and be like, oh, well, we're actually going to do this and this. And like, here's our plan. I understand that part, but I don't know if I believe him when he says that.
I know. It's frustrating. It is. You should not lose games in special teams. If anything, just be neutral, right? Just kind of have special teams be neutral, but don't lose a game because of special teams. It's great when you win them on special teams, but at least be neutral. They can't be the determining factor of your loss. I mean, it's a touchdown that this team was chasing the entire game, right? Yeah. And they lost by a touchdown, essentially. Say what you want about the 2 points at the end, but that was it. They were chasing that gimme touchdown from a block, something that's not supposed to happen. And it was unfortunate. So we'll see.
I'd also say too, real quick, like there's other parts of special tems that have been good for the Buccaneers. Like Chase McLaughlin has figured it out. He's hitting it from 100 miles away, 65-yarder, the longest field goal connected on from an outdoor stadium. So that's big time. Cameron Johnson looks sensational as a returner. I mean, he's the guy, as bad as I feel when the Bucs have to punt, that's how good I feel when Cameron Johnson is standing back there getting a return, because what's going to happen first? The Bucs get another punt blocked or Cameron Johnson returns one for a touchdown, because it might be 50-50 at this point. Cameron Johnson is that close. And I think the Bucs can clean up some stuff on their kick returns and their kick coverage. But you have one ugly thing with punts, but you got some beautiful things with Chase McLaughlin returning to form, and then what Cameron Johnson's been doing as a punt returner. So those need to stay, or they need to fix the other part of it.
Yep, I totally agree. We do have a little bit of breaking news that I think everyone might be excited about. The Buccaneers and the 49ers game will be at 4:25. They're moving it back to an afternoon kick. So it's not going to be a 1 o'clock kickoff where it's going to be Sweat City. It'll be a 4:25 start. And it looks like the team will get some more added exposure. It's not a primetime game by any means, but it's going to be one of those afternoon kind of marquee matchup games. So we'll need to, we'll need to adjust our plans accordingly for that. But I think I was a little surprised, Matt, if we're being honest, like to see that be a 1 o'clock start with a West Coast team. Typically, for West Coast teams, they try to look out for the West Coast fan bases and not have like morning football. So again, it's a 3-hour time difference out there. So a 4:25 start is a 1:25 kick rather than having a 1 o'clock start, which would have been a 10 a.m. on Pacific time start. So at least 49er fans can get some home tailgating in a little bit without having to have mimosas for kickoff with the 1 o'clock start. But we'll see. See what
it's
happens.
One of those things where it is an advantage for the Bucs if the game were to start at 1 o'clock, because we even saw a different game. The New York Giants got their first win of the season with Jackson Dart. They were home going up against the LA Chargers, and that was a 1 o'clock game. So essentially 10 a.m. body clock, if you will, for the Chargers in that one. Some people don't use it as excuses, and you could certainly still overcome it, but that has an impact on the West Coast teams coming to the East Coast. So it doesn't help the Bucs in that aspect of it. But at the same time, it is again, not prime time nationally televised, but pretty much nationally televised. You'll have Jim Nantz, Tony Romo likely on the call. Yeah. So it certainly will get more attention on the Bucs. And they had plenty of attention on Monday Night Football, and they succeeded. Had a lot of attention yesterday and did not succeed. So hopefully they're on the right side of things against San Fran in a couple of weeks.
As Greg DeCruz says, this doesn't help the Bucs. 49ers now have 10 days off to get ready for that game and play at a time that their bodies are more comfortable with. That's true. So that's there's definitely a lot of truth in that. There's also some truth that this is not a victory Monday. We understand that. Sadly. Those were fun. I'm sure we'll see some more this year. But one thing that will make this Monday a bright one for everybody is the fact that we typically do right at 4:20 or pretty close to 4:20 on most Mondays, unless we have a guest. We do this thing called
Roll Call. That's right. Roll Call is a staple of the Pewter Report podcast. We do it most Mondays at 4:20. We're actually on time today. Typically, we're fashionably late.
I know.
But we have awesome fans all around the world, and we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, whether you're live with us right now, or if you listen to us on Spotify or the audio version, or if you watch us later on YouTube. And we love interacting with our fans as much as we possibly can. And one way we do that is with Roll Call. What we do in Roll Call on Monday shows is one of us goes on a conversation about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in the meantime, while we're talking about the Bucs, if you want to put in the comments where you're watching the show from, we'll put it up on the screen like Tyson C. watching from North Dakota. We'll give a couple of personal shout-outs as well a little bit later in the show with Roll Call. So today, Scott's going to go on a conversation about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers while I'll be looking in the chat for everybody. So, Scott, whenever you're ready, please take it away.
I will do just that. And, oh, boy, Jamel Dean, it was looking so good for you this year. You had a pick 6 against the Jets. You had taken a contract pay cuts with the ability to become a free agent at the end of this year, maybe get another payday, another team somewhere else. It was looking so good for you. You had a high PFF grade. You were actually shutting down other receivers, and then you got hurt. It's only a matter of when, not if, but when Jamel Dean gets hurt. And it's unfortunate because I like Jamel. Everybody likes Jamel. He's a good guy, but he is so injury prone, and he has a groin injury right now. One that's going to require an MRI to figure out exactly what's wrong and how long he's going to be out. Well, the good news is this isn't like last year, right? Where Jamel Dean goes out and, Bryce Hall had a broken leg in week 1, and all of a sudden this team was down to Tyreek Funderburk and Josh Hayes as options. Thankfully, Jason Light and Todd Bowles, they've got some options like Benjamin Morrison, the second-round draft pick out of Notre Dame, who's stepped in to save the day yesterday and play when Jamel Dean was not able to and played pretty well until that hamstring struck again. This is the third time Benjamin Morrison is out with a hamstring injury. And we'll see if he's out, but he didn't return to the game. He, too, is having an MRI to see how bad that hamstring injury is. And hamstrings you usually don't recover from in the same week and play. So we don't think that he is going to be available for the Seahawks game. We'll see what the MRI has to say. But this is the third time that Benjamin Morrison has had a hamstrung situation. He missed the last day of mandatory minicamp with a hamstring. He missed all of the preseason and most of training camp with a hamstring. And now he's going to miss some time, we think, with a hamstring. But Jason Light and Todd Bowles didn't stop there. They doubled up at the cornerback position, thankfully, and they got Jacob Parrish, who's actually played better than Benjamin Morrison, though most of his snaps have come in the slot. But I watched Jacob Parrish at Kansas State, our alma mater, and he was an outside corner. So I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Izien can play. One of the options, and Todd Bowles says, we'll see who's available for this game before we start moving the chess pieces around. But there's a chance that Parrish could be outside if Christian Izien can play, because then he can play nickel, or they could move Tyke Smith back to nickel for this game against the Seahawks, and then have Kayvon Merriweather step in at safety for Tyke Smith. So there's a couple different options there. Then something happens to either Zion McCollum or Jacob Parrish in this game. They at least have Kendall Vildor, who has been inactive for most of the season, but he's a veteran. He's better than Tyreek Vanderberg or Josh Hayes. Then this team also has Bryce Hall on the practice squad they can bring up. So, it's not ideal heading into Seattle without possibly Jamel Dean and Jacob Parrish, possibly getting a start at outside corner because they might not have Benjamin Morrison. But Matt, at least it's better than last year. This team does have more depth at the cornerback position. We've seen defensive tackle take a wallop when it comes to injuries so far.
Yeah.
Greg Means being the latest with that pectoral injury. Now the cornerback injury starting to kind of surface, unfortunately. But at least they're not as bad as they were last year in terms of depth. They have way more options, even with Benjamin Morrison possibly out, as well as Jamel Dean for this game too.
Right. It's not as if they have to wave the white flag when it comes to the cornerback position. I'm still an advocate of Bryce Hall if he's able to play and help contribute to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, certainly all the other starting corners have done fantastic, so there hasn't been a need for Hall just yet. But I feel comfortable if he has to play significant minutes. Hopefully, Christian Izien can come back, because I really like the idea of putting him in the slot and moving Jacob Parrish to the outside for the whole game. I've been so impressed, and certainly you're a Jacob Parrish guy. I've been so impressed with what Jacob Parrish has been able to do this in his NFL debut, in his first year in the big time. He is just a pit bull out there. He is relentless. He's going after every single football. I know he's not happy with himself for not coming up with that interception in the game, but he's playing as tight of coverage as any other defender that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. So especially for this matchup against Seattle, where you have a fast guy that can play in the slot like Jackson Smith and Jigba. If he does line up outside and you have Parrish there, I do like that matchup for him going up against him. So that would be ideal if Dean, and it's not ideal if Dean and Morrison are out, but if they are out, that would be the way how, if I were Todd Bowles, how I would set up the lineup for this upcoming game. But they certainly have a couple of different options too, like you mentioned with Tyke Smith going back into the slot. So we'll see. Yeah,
just because we're good sports here. Spirit of Philly has joined us, and congratulations on your Eagles win.
Yeah,
it reminds me of 2002 when the Bucs lost to the Eagles in the regular season, but then it was a different story in the playoffs. Maybe that happens this year. But there's been so much props and praise about Quinyon Mitchell, a guy that I call Holds McGee, because he held and mugged a lot in that game. I mean, I'm going to give the guy his props. Good cornerback, but man, does he hold, and he gets away with it too. He says 27 Q, meaning Quinyon Mitchell for the Eagles. Just getting cooking, not elite yet, to be determined. Yeah, good players, no doubt about it. But what I liked about the Bucs cornerbacks yesterday was they didn't have to hold. And this is This is what the Bucs cornerbacks did. So we're seeing all this love for Quinyon Mitchell, PFF grade, and all that stuff around the interwebs today. Jacob Parrish, you just mentioned him, Matt. 3 targets yesterday, 2 catches, 0 yards, 1 pass breakup. Okay. Zion McCollum, 2 targets, 1 catch, 3 yards yesterday. Okay. So you see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
We can do the Quinyon Mitchell thing, but I've got 4 corners that I'm going to talk about today, right? And we just mentioned too, Jacob Parrish and Zion McCollum. Let's also talk about the corners. They got banged up. Jamel Dean, 1 target, 1 catch, 7 yards. Benjamin Morrison was targeted 4 times, 1 catch, 9 yards, pass breakup. That's pretty damn good against the likes of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who were absolutely non-factors yesterday in that game for Philadelphia. Those 2 starting wide receivers got absolutely erased by the Bucs cornerbacks yesterday when matched up. So phenomenal day, not just for the starting corners, but for the rookies too. Jacob Parrish and Benjamin Morrison, both those guys played lights out. So want to give Tampa Bay's corners some props too, because they did a hell of a job in just neutralizing Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown.
Completely blanketed the top 2 wide receivers for the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'd go even further than that. It hasn't just been, this wasn't a microcosm. This was the entire season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the secondary.
Really
There's not been
football.
one game. And Garrett Wilson had a pretty good game for the Jets in week 3 against the Bucs, but they still had to throw it to him double-digit times to see his production go up. Even since week 1, these corners they're keeping things in front of them, but not the way that it was happening last year, where it was 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. Hey, a 7-yard gain, bam, first down for the other team. They're not allowing big plays. They're not getting beat deep. And they're completely, as you said, erasing wide receivers from games. This has been a stellar performance from the Bucs, corners, safeties, everyone in the secondary through the first 4 games of the season. We'll see who's available for week 5, but the secondary has not been the problem for Tampa Bay's defense by any means.
All we need to see is just a couple more big plays, some more interceptions from that group.
That is true.
And listen, the Buccaneers did suffer a loss at Raymond James Stadium, but there is a team at Ray J that is undefeated so far, and that team is the USF Bulls. That's right. This Saturday, Raymond James Stadium, you can see the USF Bulls Tampa's team go up against the Charlotte 49ers. October 3rd, 7 p.m. kickoff. That's Nico Gramatica. That is the new version of Automatica Gramatica. That's the son of Martin Gramatica. Very cool to see him kick for the Bulls. Raymond James Stadium, scan that QR code to purchase tickets and have a great time out there watching the Bulls take on the 49ers. Is this Bulls team a playoff team? It very well could be. Check them out this Saturday at 7 p.m. October 3rd. And scan that QR code to get your tickets.
I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that participated in roll call. Great turnout once again. So we'll give some specific shout outs. Victor Bashand from Elk Grove, California. Dad of 3, Land O'Lakes, Florida. Brew Tender 13 says, Go Bucs. Watching from Birmingham, Alabama. Then we're going to go a little international. Brian Simpson from Chester in the UK. Buckeye 89, Toledo, Ohio. Go Bucs. Dane Kahn, watching from Trinidad and Tobago. I thought that was super cool. And the guy is gifted, who is at work in Pocatello, Idaho right now. We also appreciate the guy is gifted for being a Pewter Platinum member. So let's give a shout out to our Pewter Platinum members. Scott Federico, who was in Italy yesterday watching the Pewter Game Day show. Cool. Rachel Gordon, Noah Parr, Scotty J, Dave Anderson, Hezo813, Ash Fishpool, Joel Elrican, Sam, John Dale Morris, Zach Brannikin, RP89, Connor 4 Reels, Kevin Thomas, Leighton Carter, Brandon Riley, Alec Bickler, Nick Dubuque, Zach Jarvis, Mario Thomas, Eric McMillan, Dominic Tarantino, HK Bucs, Brayon Pinkney, The Real Maverick, and like I just mentioned, the guy is gifted. Thank you all so much for your support of pewterreport.com. We appreciate you.
Very cool. Thank you. And I just misspoke when I was doing that USF read. It's not Saturday. It's Friday night. So you got nothing better to do Friday night. Maybe your college football team's playing on Saturday. Go see the Bulls play Friday night under the lights. That'll be a cool game at Raymond James Stadium Friday, October 3rd.
That is right. Let's get to some super chats, shall we? Mark Fisher, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, says, proud of our team. Down how many starters, and we took the champs to the end with 2 good chances to tie at the end. Any updates on the defensive injuries?
No updates as of right now. Today is kind of like MRI day. Sometimes the MRIs come in on Tuesday morning as well. So we'll have some information maybe later on today. You'll see some reports out there on the X. It may happen later in the morning tomorrow. So we'll let you know. There's a lot of guys. Bucky Irving is one of those players too that is getting evaluated. He ended up playing and had a whale of a second half of that 70+ yard catch. But he did take a kind of a shot to the head. He was tackled hard and then also too, I think suffered a little bit of a leg injury. He's kind of limping a little bit there. So, but we know Bucky, he's a tough guy, hard to keep out of the lineup, and we'll see. But I would suspect he's going to play unless they find something in the MRI that they were not able to find, and he played through it. But
I'm worried about Bucky. Not like for this game specifically. It's just like
season.
I don't know if he can get through 17 games. He's just a tiny guy. He's going to get smoked when he gets tackled. And the Bucs, actually, credit to them. Actually, I'm curious, and I wrote about this during the snap count, because Bucky did get hurt. It was right around halftime, so they didn't have to go too long without him. But this was actually one of the closest in terms of the numbers between the snap count percentage for Bucky Irving and Rachaad White. Bucky Irving was at about 61%, and Rachaad White was around 40%. Rachaad White was 42, excuse me, and Bucky Irving was 61. That's the closest the gap has been since really the season began, even with Rachaad White playing so well in week 2. I do wonder how much of that was because Bucky got injured right around the second quarter before halftime, or if that was actually the plan. But that's definitely something to monitor moving forward.
Matt, I was really happy to see it because I had Bucky Irving prop bets. I had Rachaad White prop bets.
Yeah.
And all of them hit. The yardage, the catches, the receiving yards, all of it hit. So I had a good day yesterday.
Nice.
thanks to the split in time between Bucky and Rachaad.
There you go. Mark Fisher, thank you for this $4.99 super chat. Says Bucky didn't fumble. Ibuka made his catch, and Burt Emanuel made that catch. Not that I'm bitter or hold a grudge, LOL.
That's great. Yeah. Good stuff, Mark. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that was a tough one with Bucky. It was a big moment in the game. It certainly led to the overall outcome. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's got the ball in his hand, and it looked like his shin was on the ground. And then as he goes to the ground, the ball bounces out. And again, I thought there was a thing called the ground can't cause a fumble. So
right,
a little curious as to
who knows these days.
I know. This
NFL
game is going to hell in a handbasket, unfortunately.
Paul, aka OG Baker Bro, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, of course the Eagles will take the win, but they shouldn't be thrilled with it. Bucs were injured, questionable officiating, Baker interception, and a poor first half, and they still only squeaked by. Not impressed.
I will say this. You never apologize for winning. Todd Bowles says that. I'm sure Nick Sirianni believes that too. So the Eagles will make no apologies for this. A W is a W. They're the only undefeated team in the NFC, Matt? Is that correct? I believe that's the case, right? 49ers lost, Bucs lost.
Because the 49ers lost yesterday.
Yeah. So there's that. On the other hand, too, give the Buccaneers one more possession, and maybe this is a different outcome. Maybe the Buccaneers are the only undefeated team in the NFC. They clearly won the second half. The Eagles clearly won the first half. Problem is, Eagles scored more points in their half than the Bucs did in theirs, and the Eagles played turnover-free football, and the Bucs didn't. And so that in close games like this, it comes down to those things: kicking game, turnovers, and the Eagles had the advantage. So, were they lucky? I don't know. Sometimes you make your own luck, and we didn't see Jalen Hurts turn the ball over, but
there's still some oddities with the Eagles, like barely gaining any yards in the second half. It's been a slow start for AJ Brown throughout the whole season, not just this game as well. And many people have pointed to how this was like 2 seasons ago when the Bucs lost in the regular season to the Eagles, and then they smoked them in the postseason. I definitely see that parallel, but part of this game, and different people for sure, part of this reminded me a little bit like that 2020 season when the Bucs played against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs just embarrassed Tampa Bay in the first half. But then the Bucs came back and they ended up losing the game. But Tony Romo at the end was like, I have a feeling these teams might meet up one time again. And they did in the Super Bowl, and it wasn't even close.
That's right.
If these teams meet in the NFC Championship game, I might be picking the team from Florida to
I might be too.
to win that one. But that's something to think about for a later date. Bucs Basement, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says Bucs are about to get 2 games moved to 4 p.m. So we spoke about that the 49ers game at home in Raymond James Stadium, that has been moved to 4 o'clock. And then there's also like a timing thing with the Seahawks game, because in baseball, the Mariners might have a playoff game at the same time that the Seahawks game is supposed to start, and their stadiums are right next to each other. So might be a little bit of a later start this Sunday as well. But
that's right. It's supposed to be a 4:05 start because it's a West Coast game. But we'll see. That game probably will be moved as well.
Bucs Basement, thank you for this $5 super chat. Says rematch in January. This was not a Saints 2020 blowout loss. We corrected and almost won. No moral victories, but a complete Bucs team is dangerous.
I agree. I mean, you had 2 tackles for loss by the Buccaneer defense in the first half, and I want to say there were 10 tackles for loss in the second half. That's how much this Bucs defense was flying around. Again, the only thing that was missing was a takeaway, and it looked like there was a play where Jacob Parrish almost had a pick, and Servacio Dennis was going for it too, and neither one of them ended up getting it. But that's really what they needed. They needed a takeaway, and as much as we want to kind of crown this defense for being light years better than it was last year, that's still an area that has yet to show improvement. This team has 1 interception in 4 games, and they had 7 the entire season. So they're actually kind of like on that track still. And that is not how you win football games. That you're going to have to pick it up a lot more, and you're going to have to get some interceptions from your linebackers. Looking at you, Levante David and Servacio Dennis. So it's time for this team to start getting some takeaways through the air, interceptions.
Yeah, it's almost like some of the best teams. You would love to have a dominant shutout type of defense, but today's NFL kind of makes it difficult with the rulings and everything like that. But as much as you want like a dominant shutdown defense, you kind of want an opportunistic defense. You don't want a defense that's allowing 35 points per game, but I almost feel like if you know you have a good offense, which the Bucs do, and they will when Luke Getticue's back, Mike Evans, and Josh Grizzard has a little more play calling experience under his belt. But this is a Bucs team that defensively, I still feel like they could allow 24 points per game. But if they got two turnovers and allowing 24 points, it should still be enough for this team to win. So there's no question. The turnovers have to come. It can't come just against a bad 0-3 team like the Jets.
Right.
You need to get the turnovers against the good teams, because those are.
And we saw that yesterday with Jacksonville and the Fighting Liam Cohens, right?
Yeah.
They've had 4 straight games with 3 takeaways on defense. Never happened before in Jacksonville history, apparently. But that's why they went to San Francisco and beat the 49ers and actually did the Bucs a favor by knocking the 49ers down a peg. So that's what it takes. It takes takeaways. If you want to beat good teams, you can't just, go over in that department.
For sure, absolutely. DB says, I'm sorry for joining late. Hey, no problem. What do you think about Graham Barton at center? I know it's only year 2, but this feels like the Gedeke experiment.
He was drafted to play center, and that's where he's going to play. That's what I've been told. So it doesn't matter. We can speculate all we want. He's going to be a center. They draft him to be a center. I think he can be a very good center. Obviously, you got to shake off a little rust at the center position. It's one thing to go out there and moonlight as a left tackle for 3 weeks, but then to go back to center. Oh, and by the way, welcome back to center. Here's Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. It's not exactly, a nice kind of on ramp to that highway. It's it's a very short on ramp. You better merge right now because here they come. So, we'll see. I didn't think the offensive line played that great yesterday. I thought Tristan Wirfs was probably the best one, to be honest. And it was great to see him back doing Tristan Wirfs things like smashing people and also kind of picking fights, which, typically that's not his
Luke
style
Gedeke
of play.
role.
That's Luke Gedeke, but we can tell that he misses playing with Luke because he kind of got into a little bit of a kerfuffle.
You did
out there, and no, it's just good to have Tristan back. And I think once this offensive line kind of settles in, all will be right with the world. I think they're going to get 4 out of their 5 starters back when Luke Gedeke comes back. They'll have 4 out of 5. Hopefully, no more injuries there. But you'd like to see Bucky Irving kind of get back into Bucky mode of last year. He's averaging 3.3 yards per carry this year. The Bucs through 4 games only have 1 rushing touchdown. That's a Rachaad White touchdown. So very uncharacteristic, but I think we can kind of point the finger at the reshuffled offensive line and all the injuries up front as to why that hasn't happened yet. But now that we have a little bit of normalcy on the left side of the line, I think we'll see some continuity pick up, and we'll see the running game start to be more productive and Bucky Irving's average per carry go up.
Yeah, my concern going into this game is you're certainly better on the offensive line when Tristan Wirfs was there. My concern was how rusty will Wirfs be? And of course, Chris Godwin Jr., but sticking with the offensive line. And then, is there any rust or growing pains or whatever with the guys that were in there, but playing different positions going back to their natural positions? Because, if you're playing left tackle over and over and over again, and then you just move to center, it's not just like, voila, you're going to be great at center once again. And unfortunately, I think that did rear its ugly head. As you mentioned, all the offensive line wasn't that good. Not just, Grant Barton, with the exception of Tristan Wirfs, who had a good game. Like Ben Bredesen got beat pretty bad, I would say. Luke Haggard, I'm actually surprised they went with him over Elijah Klein, but it might be time to call Dan the man, by any means. So give it some time. And again, like, they're in the toughest part of their schedule, so you're not shocked that they didn't have the best overall game. They still scored 23 points. I know it's 25 at the end, but there's that safety. But, they still put up points, which is
that's right.
Important. Bucs Basement, thanks for this $2 super chat. Says, no 4-game losing streak this year, Bowles.
Yeah, please. Well,
that's the next step for Todd Bowles is no 3 to 4 game. I won't even say no 3-game losing streak. Forget the 4-game, no 3-game losing streak.
Right. Yeah. Was this just a loss on Sunday, or is it the beginning of the slide? Right. That's kind of what we're curious about, and we won't know the answer of that until Sunday night when this team plays the Seattle Seahawks up there in Seattle in a throwback game too, which will be kind of cool. It's going to be those uniforms again, the 1976 throwbacks versus the 1976 Seattle Seahawks in their uniforms, the silver helmet, the blue pants. I'm sorry, the blue jersey and the silver pants. And we're going to have our Bucs versus Seahawks preview on Wednesday at 4:00. So make sure you tune into that show. The Pewter Report podcast is on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're on our way to 22,000 subscribers. Thanks to you. Greatly appreciate it. And I'll have a Bucs Brightside video out first thing tomorrow morning. Don't really have the time to do it today, but I do have a 2-point conversion column and the Bucs mailbag. I was able to get those out today, but I'll have that video for you tomorrow. You can check that out also on Pewter Report TV. Yeah,
make sure you check it out. And excited for this matchup of Bucs Seahawks. It's two teams where the Bucs you feel a little more. I mean, we obviously feel more confident about where we cover them every single day. But the Seahawks, it's like, are they good? Are they contender? Are they like, what are they with Sam Darnold? And they've been pretty good so far. And we know with Tampa Bay, they're a legit playoff contender with the current group that they got. So should make for a good game. We have a $4.99 super chat from Bulam Seba. Thank you so much. Says, I met with Bucs former quarterback Josh Freeman. What's the status update about our injured defensive players? Do you think Parrish can match with Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Yeah, I mean, I've been so impressed with Jacob Parrish. Honestly, maybe I was sandbagging a little bit because he is, a Kansas State guy, and I don't want to be too high on my guy to seem like I'm a homer. But he's playing better, I think, than he played even last year at Kansas State, and he's playing a new position. He's playing inside. And so to me, that's impressive. And I think this will be his biggest test to date in terms of going up against, Seattle's best receiver. And they've done a really good job of bringing in somebody to pair with him after losing DK Metcalf or trading DK Metcalf. They bring in Cooper Kupp, who's not the same guy, kind of a shell of his former self, but still, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch right there. And Ohio State can put out some wide receivers, man. The Bucs got one of their own right there. So we do have an update from Greg Allman here. Saw this in the chat. And it says the Bucs will be bringing competition for Riley Dixon after 2 punts blocked in the last 3 games. A workout Tuesday should yield a practice squad signing, a potential elevation, and more of a direct threat to Dixon's roster spot. That would be fine with me. I'm tired of the slow windup, and it pains me that people in the front office and the head coach of this football team can't see that, and they don't really recognize that. Actually, I give Todd Bowles credit. He says he could do it a little faster. He needs to do it faster. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's no sense of urgency there. It's, I have the ball. Oh, look, the ball is in my hands. Now I'm going to bring my leg back and I'm going to swing my leg and boom, there goes the ball. That's what it feels like to me. Does it feel that way to you Bucs fans? When you watch Riley Dixon punt the ball, it seems like it takes forever.
It takes a little long. It definitely takes a little bit long. And you see that sometimes with punters, and you're like, kick it. Right. And then they finally do, and you're like, oh, thank goodness. But
when you play like touch football when you're a kid, right? You do the pass rush, right? The 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, then you can take off and rush the quarterback. To me, by the time the ball is snapped, if I can say punt it 3 times, it's taken too long, right? It should be punt it, right? It should be gone by the time the third punt it comes out of my mouth. So.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Drillman 32, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says this loss, Chiefs in 2020 and Eagles in 2002, all give me the same long-term confidence after the fact. We ooze insane potential. Yeah, on paper, this Bucs looks like a great team. The problem is the game is played on grass, not paper. But again, once Luke Gedeke comes back, once Mike Evans returns, if you can bubble wrap the rest of the team, you're going to have a top level unit. You could have an offense that's just as good as it was last year with the defense, and we'll see what the takeaways, but still should be able to force punts against teams the way that they didn't against the Commanders in the postseason last year. So it's just one loss, and that's the thing with football. You win one game, and it's like, oh my God. We're the best team in the league. We're the best team in the world. Nobody can stop us. And then you lose, and it's like, wow, so we're going to have the number 1 pick now or something like that? Like, it's football is so – you got a whole week to go through every single scenario in your head. So
and every emotion, too. That's the thing. I will point out, because I'm famous for doing this, 2002, 2020, 2 of the healthiest Buccaneer teams ever in terms of starters not missing games. So that is a key factor. The Bucs would have to buck a trend, pun intended, to get to the Super Bowl this year with the number of players in injured reserve. And like Matt said, it's true. Once Luke come back, they can't afford to lose any other starters. Like these guys, there needs to be all hands on deck from about midway through the season on. And J-Mac, when he comes back, he's got to join the party.
Him too.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. And just bubble wrap the entire team. I love that, Matt. The bubble wrap Buccaneers.
Christopher Oxentine says, SR, do you think the Bucs will wear the 1976 uniforms next season?
Yeah, I think they will. They've been a big hit. Selling merch, why not? I mean, that's part of this. This is a business. So yeah, I think they will. And you know what? Here's my thing. I've gone on record saying I hate the white on white uniforms. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid how you have college football games that start at noon in Florida. You know, and you'll see Florida State, USF. Hell, USF started their season during the day with all black uniforms. They beat the crap out of Boise State. So I understand darker jerseys are hotter and all that stuff. I hate the all whites. But you know what? If you're going to go all whites, go with the 1976. Have that be the home opener jersey every year. I'm fine with that. If we're going to go all white, I'd rather see that jersey than the pewter helmet with the white jersey and the boring white pants. That is such a boring look.
I hope we don't get into a situation where, because let's face it, there's a lot of people that hate the creamsicle uniforms because they never win in them, and it reminds them of those losing teams.
Yeah.
Bucs won in the 1976 throwbacks, then they lost going back to their regular jerseys.
Yeah.
I want them to win regardless, but if they beat the Seahawks next week in the 1976 throwback, and then unfortunately if they lose to the 49ers the following week, people are going to be like, they got to wear the 76 throwback every week. They have to wear those. So hopefully they don't get to that point. Dave Weber says, why has Cade Otton disappeared? Are they just keeping him in to help the line more? Hey, he had 3 catches for 9 yards, but he had 3 catches.
I was going to say, Cade Otton, that sounds familiar. Where have I heard that name before?
Played 96% of the snaps.
Yeah.
More than – he almost played as much as Baker in the offensive line. He played 96% of the snaps.
I'm just saying, thankfully, the Buccaneers did not give this guy a contract extension. Nothing against Cade. I think he's a good guy, good teammate and stuff. But, I mean, for what the market value would be for like a starting tight end like Cade, $12 million a year, I mean, I don't know that he's that special.
Yeah, I think he's interchangeable. I hate to say it, but
I really do. Yeah.
Fairly interchangeable.
Yeah, and then watch him go off for like 10 catches for 120 yards on Sunday, then I'll change my mind.
Sunshine and Lollipops Cat, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says Seahawks defense is legit. Have you watched much?
I have not. That is on my list of things to do for tomorrow. I've not done Seahawks study. I haven't watched a game yet, but I'm going to dive into that tomorrow for our preview show on Wednesday. So I'll be more prepared and more informed to talk about the Seahawks. I do know that this is a radically different Seahawks team than it was under Pete Carroll. They're 3-1. Sam Darnold looks like he is kind of picking up where he left off from his days in his year in Minnesota. And, you know, he's one of those quarterbacks. There's a couple of them. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. These guys were on the same team together in Carolina. And you can say that the Panthers, like, should have kept one of them, given what they've become. But sometimes you do need that change of scenery to elevate your game and take it to new heights. So,
yeah, I watched them on Thursday. I watched them earlier in the season too. They got a stingy defense. They're a little choppy overall, their team. But they got a good defense. That's for sure. Meets McGee, thank you for this $5 super chat. Says Ian Beckles had mentioned that he and Tony Mayberry felt the line didn't do that bad despite facing those beasts in the middle.
Yeah, I don't think they played bad. It wasn't as good as we're used to seeing from this offensive line. Just again, because this is Graham Barton's first game at center. He has been moonlighting for a full month in terms of practice time at left tackle. He hasn't snapped outside of like this week. So, and then you had Ben Bredesen not snapping and moving back to left guard, a position he hasn't practiced or played in a month. Tristan Wirfs, brand new, kind of off the bench. You know, this is his first game. Charlie Heck was the guy that has played the most at one position on that offensive line. Think about that for this season. That's crazy. But he played 2 games at right tackle for the Buccaneers, and then Luke Haggard as well. So, yeah, I think they did okay. It wasn't like Baker Mayfield was running for his life every play. It wasn't like he was sacked into oblivion. It wasn't like the Bucs couldn't run the ball. It just, the Eagles' defense is good, and Vic Fangio is a hell of a coordinator. So, I have to give them props too.
They've had better games for sure. I think
Yeah.
that's fair to say.
Well, we've all had better Mondays, especially when it's not a victory Monday, but it almost feels like a victory Monday when you head over to Walk-Ons, because Walk-Ons, you can eat like a winner, drink like a champ at their happy hour. It's going on until close tonight, folks. So if you want to go watch Monday Night Football, you can do that there and enjoy the happy hour menu prices all night long. And the same thing all day tomorrow, plus $5 Tito's, $3.99 domestic pints, $5 premium house pours or happy hour wines, $5.49 get you the 22-ounce domestic drafts, $4 for the hush puppies or the onion rings, $7 the boom boom shrimp, a half order of the waffle cheese fries or the spinach and artichoke dip, $8 boneless wings and cheeseburger sliders. Folks, the cheat code is to go to Walk-Ons and just eat off the happy hour. You can make a meal out of it, and they've got some fantastic appetizers too, big screens, bold snacks, all the hype, TVs galore. There's not a bad seat in the house. 3 Tampa Bay area locations: Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland. And while you're saving money by eating off that happy hour menu at Walk-Ons, maybe you can do some investing with that money with the folks over at Amuni Financial.
Will your savings last through retirement? Most people plan for 10 years, but retirement can last 30. Healthcare, taxes, market swings, it all adds up. Take our quiz. Check your retirement readiness today. Amuni Financial.
This is something pretty cool that Amuni Financial is doing. You can scan that barcode right there, that QR code, or you can visit amuni.com/retire, and you can take a 2-minute quiz that will get you the answer to the question, will your savings last through retirement? So whether you're my age in your 50s, or whether you're a little bit younger in your 40s, or whether you're a young pup like Matt Matera, who's in his early 30s, it's never too late to start thinking about retirement. And certainly if you're in your 60s, maybe retirement is something you want to think about over the next decade. Do you have enough money? Will your savings last through retirement? Take that 2-minute quiz, scan the QR code, or visit amuni.com/retire and get the answer. And then the folks over at Amuni Financial can help you plan ahead and stay ahead so you have enough money to make it through retirement.
All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Just a reminder to everybody, we'll be back on Wednesday for a Bucs versus Seahawks preview, breaking down, first of all, how Tampa Bay is doing from an injury standpoint, because they're still pretty banged up. We'll have more info about that, give the latest from the Advent Health Training Center, and talk about how the Bucs can beat the Seahawks, get back on the winning track during Wednesday's Pewter Report podcast. That'll be at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, if you're not already doing so, please follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video. Tell us how you're feeling about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, despite that they suffered their first loss of the season. I still feel pretty good about them overall as a team, but it is the toughest stretch of the schedule that they have this year. All right, that's it for today's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you on Wednesday for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.